It's an interesting one going back into the Europa League because this is a competition they've actually fared so much better in than in the Champions League in recent years. That one quarter-final in the Champions League in 2019-20, that old Gunnar Solskjaer year. But in the Europa League, they've been a little bit more successful. They won it in 2017, they reached the semi-finals in 2020, they reached the final a few years later and lost to Villarreal on penalties, quarter-final in 2020-23 as well. So there has been a little bit more luck in this year's competition, but it was only last year in the Champions League where they were pretty embarrassed really. They conceded 15 goals in 6 games. It put huge pressure on Erik Ten Hag and that side. So they'll be looking to get off to a strong start because they play FC Porto and Fenerbahce in their next 2 games, 2 sides that started the season pretty strongly, and it will see a return against Jose Mourinho as well, which is going to be a fascinating clash in a couple of weeks' time. So Man United have been up and down in the Premier League so far, but this is a competition they've actually had a lot of success in recent years. What about Twente then? Which players should we be looking out for from their team? Yeah, well, they've been quite consistently around the sort of 5th, 4th, 3rd place in the Eredivisie for a number of years. They obviously don't have the same budget of PSV, Feyenoord, Ajax Atep. But they've made a real mark in the Eredivisie in recent seasons, and Sem Lygenes is one of their top players. He's a number 10, a 22-year-old number 10. He's already the top scorer in the Eredivisie this year, with 6 goals. You saw the trend on Twitter a few weeks ago of Barkley's men. Do you remember Ricky van Wolfswinkel? He was supposed to be the next one. He's at FC Twente now, he's 34 now, but he's scored over 10 goals for the last 3 seasons. They've got Sam Lammers, who was at Rangers last year, so there's the odd duttering of talent throughout that squad, but they are the heavy underdogs going into this one. So hold on, to be a Barkley's man you don't have to be good. No, you don't have to be good. That's the definition of Barkley's. I was seeing compilations of Andre Verenin and I don't think many Liverpool fans thought he was particularly special. Another interesting game tonight, Real Sociedad making the trip to Nice. Why have Real Sociedad made such a poor start? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm quite surprised, Will, to be honest. I mean, they lost a few key players in the summer. Robin Normand, who started for Spain at the Euros, joined Atleti. They also lost Michael Mourinho, who joined Arsenal quite late in the window. But as you can see, a really poor start. They've only won one of their opening 7 games. None of their last 5. They sit 16th. They've only scored 3 goals in 7 games. And this is a side that reached the Champions League knockouts last year and lost quite heavily to PSG, but did cause them some danger in that one. So it's really surprising to see from a side that have been so consistent under Emmanuel Alguacil for a number of years, but they come up against a nice side that have had a lot of chop and change in terms of managers as well. There's a lot of players that will be aware, or our audience will be aware of, as Premier League fans. Tango and Dembele joined them this year. They've only won 2 of their opening 5 games, but they did win 8-0 at the weekend against Saint-Étienne. Youssef Moukoko, who used to play for Dortmund, grabbed a brace in that one as well, so Real Sociedad will see this as an opportunity to get their season up and running because it has been a really troubling start. Now, Dougie, you're probably the perfect person to tell me the pronunciation for this, because I've heard a load of different pronunciations for the team Galatasaray are playing. Is it pork? Is it park? Is it palk? I think most people say pork, yeah, you say it as a one-ear. But there is well-known faces at Galatasaray, isn't there? Yeah, absolutely. Victor Osimhen, who's so close to joining Chelsea in the summer after Antonio Conte arrived at Napoli and decided to bring through his star man, the guy he always turns to in Romelu Lukaku. He's now at Galatasaray on loan. He's got 2 assists already. Mario Icardi used to play for PSG, Dries Mertens, the Napoli hero.